getting messages from people saying that they'd like me to read books. So I bought this one. The Complete Tales and Poems of Edgar Allan Poe. Firstly, check the cover. I'm already having a good time. Like, I saw this cover and I couldn't say no. It has the raven on the front. I don't know a massive amount of Edgar Allan Poe tales or poems, but I do know the raven, which I guess is one of his most well-known poems. It still has its wrapping on it, which I left on specifically to unwrap it in this video, because why not, right? Why not? So let's see if I can do that. Nails. That felt satisfying. I don't read nearly as much as I used to, so thank you for this excuse. Dude, that feels so nice. Oh, it's such a nice cover, dude. It's like, it's embossed. I thought it was just flat, but it's not. It's embossed. I'm actually very happy. I'm very happy right now. I'm in a very good place. And I hope you're there too. I hope you know how I feel. Like if you've ever had that new book feeling. I've missed this. I've missed this feeling. The Complete Tales of Edgar Allan Poe. Edgar Allan Poe, 1809 to 1849, is one of America's greatest and best-loved writers. Known as the father of the detective story, Poe is perhaps most famous for his short stories, particularly his shrewd mysteries and chilling, often grotesque, tales of horror. But he was also an extremely accomplished poet and tough literary critic. The Complete Tales and Poems of Edgar Allan Poe includes all of Poe's spine-chilling short stories and melodious poems, as well as literary criticism essays, and his only full-length novel, The Narrative of A. Gordon Pym. Pym. Someone will correct me, I'm sure. In addition, noted historian and biographer Daniel Stashower provides a compelling introduction to this collectible edition. Nice. Okay. Should we read one? Yeah? Shall we start with the raven? Oh, hell yeah. Yep. Okay, cool. By the way, thank you to everyone that has subscribed to this channel. I really appreciate it. It's nice to have you here. It's nice to be here. Thank you for everyone that's commented, and thank you to everyone who's just liking what I do. For starters, look at this. Dude, this is my kind of book. I want that as a tapestry. How cool would that be? I'm gonna do some research. The Complete Tales and Poems of Edgar Allan Poe. One day, they're gonna make 4D video so you could smell this. 'Cause damn. Okay, should we start with the raven? I'm gonna start with the raven. The pages feel so nice, dude. was going to enjoy reading this anyway, but now this is just leveled up. Okay, there's a preface to the poems, so I'm going to read that. These trifles are collected and published chiefly with a view to their redemption from the many improvements to which they have been subjected whilst going at random the rounds of the press. I am naturally anxious that what I have written should circulate as I wrote it, if it circulate at all. In defence of my own taste, nevertheless, it is incumbent upon me to say that I think nothing in this volume of much value to the public, or very creditable to myself. Events not to be controlled have prevented me from making at any time any serious effort in what, under happier circumstances, would have been the field of my choice. With me, poetry has not been a purpose, but a passion, and the passion should be held in reverence. They cannot at will be excited with an eye to the paltry compensations or the more paltry commendations of mankind. Well, I'm going to try and do him justice as much as I can. That feels like Edgar Allan Poe just being like, yeah, they're fine. Yeah, they're pretty good. Okay. The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. Only this, and nothing more. Ah, distinctly I remember, it was in the bleak December, and each separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow, vainly I had sought to borrow from my books surcease of sorrow, sorrow for the lost Lenore, for the rare and radiant maiden, whom the angels name Lenore, nameless here for evermore. And the silken, sad, uncertain rustling of each purple curtain thrilled me, filled me with fantastic terrors never felt before, so that now, to still the beating of my heart, I stood repeating, "'Tis some visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door, some late visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. This it is, and nothing more." Presently my soul grew stronger, hesitating then no longer. "Sir," said I, "or madam, truly your forgiveness I implore, but the fact is I was napping, and so gently you came rapping, and so faintly you came tapping at my chamber door, that I scarce was sure I heard you. Here I opened wide the door. Darkness there, and nothing more." Deep into that darkness peering, long I stood there, wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortals ever dared to dream before. But the silence was unbroken, and the stillness gave no token, and the only word there was spoken was the whispered word Lenore. This I whispered, and an echo murmured back the word Lenore. Merely this, and nothing more. Back into the chamber turning, all my soul within me burning, soon again I heard a tapping, something louder than before. "Surely," said I, Surely that is something at my window lattice. Let me see then what thereat is, and this mystery explore. Let my heart be still a moment, and this mystery explore. 'Tis the wind, and nothing more. Open here I flung the shutter, when, with many a flirt and flutter, in there stepped a stately raven of the saintly days of yore. Not least the obeisance made he, not a minute stopped or stayed he, but with mien of lord or lady, perched above my chamber door, perched upon a bust of Pallas, just above my chamber door, perched and sat, nothing more. Then this ebony bird beguiling my sad fancy into smiling, by the grave and stern decorum of the countenance it wore. Though thy crest be shorn and shaven, thou, I said, art sure no craven, ghastly grim and ancient raven, wandering from the nightly shore. Tell me what thy lordly name is on that night's Plutonian shore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Much I marvelled this ungainly fowl to hear discourse so plainly, though its answer little meaning, little relevancy bore. For we cannot help agreeing that no living human being ever yet was blessed with seeing bird above his chamber door, bird or beast upon the sculptured bust above his chamber door, with such a name as Nevermore. But the raven, sitting lonely on that placid bust, spoke only that one word, as if his soul in that one word did he outpour. Nothing farther then he uttered, not a feather then he fluttered, till I scarcely more than muttered, other friends have flown before. On the morrow he will leave me, as my hopes have flown before. Then the bird said, nevermore. Startled at the stillness broken by reply so aptly spoken, doubtless, said I, what it utters is its only stock and sore, caught from some unhappy master, whom unmerciful disaster followed fast and followed faster, till his songs one burden bore, till the dirges of his hope that melancholy burden bore, of never, nevermore. But the raven still beguiling all my sad soul into smiling, straight I wheeled a cushioned seat in front of bird and bust and door. Then upon the velvet sinking, I betook myself to linking fancy unto fancy, thinking what this ominous bird of yore, what this grim, ungainly, ghastly, gaunt, and ominous bird of yore meant in croaking nevermore. This I sat engaged in guessing, but no syllable expressing, to the fowl whose fiery eyes now burned into my bosom's core. This and more I sat divining, with my head at ease reclining on the cushion's velvet lining that the lamp light gloated o'er, but whose velvet violet lining with the lamplight gloating o'er she shall press, nevermore. Then methought the air grew denser, perfumed from an unseen censer, swung by seraphim whose footfalls tinkled on the tufted floor. Wretch, I cried, thy God hath lent thee, by these angels he hath sent thee, respite, respite and nepenthe from thy memories of Lenore. Quaff, oh quaff, this kind nepenthe, and forget this lost Lenore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, whether tempest sent or whether tempest tossed thee here ashore, desolate yet all undaunted, on this desert land enchanted, on this home by horror haunted, tell me truly, I implore, is there balm in Gilead? Tell me, I implore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, by that heaven that bends above us, by that God we both adore, tell this soul with sorrow laden, if within the distant Aidenn it shall clasp a sainted maiden, whom the angels name Lenore. Clasp a rare and radiant maiden, whom the angels name Lenore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Be that word our sign of parting, bird or fiend, I shrieked upstarting, get thee back into the tempest and the night's Plutonian shore. Leave no black plume as a token of that lie thy soul hath spoken. Leave my loneliness unbroken, quit the bust above my door. Take thy beak from out my heart, and take thy form from off my door. Quoth the raven, nevermore. And the raven, never flitting, still is sitting on the pallid bust of Pallas, just above my chamber door, and his eyes have all the seeming of a demon that is dreaming, and the lamplight o'er him streaming throws his shadow on the floor, and my soul from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor shall be lifted nevermore. Man, that's a really annoying raven. Dude, that's... It's just a raven that will not sod off. I hope you enjoyed that. I did. It's been a long time since I've read poetry, so please forgive if the phrasing wasn't the most amazing thing in the world. But I want to do more of this, and the more I do, the better I'll get at it. So thanks for listening. Like, subscribe, tell me what you'd like me to read, and thanks. Peace and love. See you later.